nerds? I'm Aaron.
I'm Wes.
And we're taking a look at Ars Alchimia by TMG and Manifest Destiny. So in Ars, you're taking your workers, and the main goal is to make these potions and these orders for your customers, you could say. So you're going to collect orders, and then there's like different levels of orders. You then collect resources that you need to make the orders, and then you have to go actually put the ingredients together and transmutate them to actually complete the orders to gain the points. That's how you gain your victory points, is completing the orders.
And there's like an increasing level of you have to have like the low level potion to make the one above it, and then the middle one to make the highest one. And of course the higher ones give you more points, but they're a lot harder to make. But you're not allowed just to like get the highest one and then like save up all year or round to make the big one. You have to progressively get better and better. So it prevents that person who's just, in other resource or worker placement games, you're trying to complete tasks. It can be kind of a dominant strategy just to get the really high point ones and spend the whole game trying to complete, 3 or 4 high point ones instead of 10 low point ones. And this game, you kind of can do that once you get to like the second, maybe third round. But they do slow you down at the very least.
I think the thing they also do to counter that is there's actually set collecting in a way. If you complete a whole bunch of the ones with the little bread icon on there, at the end there's bonus points for your different sets. So if you have a set of 2, you get an extra point. A set of 3 is 3 points. Up to you get a set of 6+ is 12 bonus points. So you could just do a bunch of little ones, and it would kind of make up for the fact that you didn't do really big ones.
Yeah, and it has that nice like curve on it, so it's not just like bonus points for each one, but the more you get, the more points they're worth.
So my favorite thing about this game is that they pack a big box, huge game into a small game box, which like you can fit in your car and easily transport.
Or packing your suitcase without having to like plan around it.
Yeah, the board is so small. Like it's big, but like it's still compact and fits right into this box. So like they maximize the size of this board to fit in this box, where you still have a pretty nice sized board, but it's a really small box, which is pretty sweet.
And I think that can be a pro and a con, because it definitely it fits and it works really well. Some of the text is a little bit small. Like there's some of these cards have little tiny symbols on them that like I almost feel like they're smaller than they need to be. Like it was almost like they took a full size card and then just like shrunk everything about it. So even though they have extra space with kind of artwork, where it's not like a picture, it's almost like just a little like swirl and decoration, that they could have used that space for the symbols. They shrunk the symbol down with a card, which it's not really a problem. It's just I can see how that could be a negative for some people. I feel like this game makes a really good like starter or intro into worker placement games. Maybe not like the very first game someone plays, but once they have a few games under their belt and you want to start working them into worker placement, this is a really easy game to introduce someone. The mechanics are really simple. I don't feel like you have a lot of analysis paralysis. Like there's not a lot of stuff to do. You can go to the same place multiple times, but there's really only there's 6 places to get quests, and there's 4 places that you can get resources, and 3 places that you can score them. So there's not a lot of those options. So I feel like it does make it easier for someone to, you can grasp it really quickly. There's not, I wouldn't even say it's a game that by the, a lot of the games we say, by the end of it, you'll really have a good grasp on this game. This one, I could explain it to you, and I feel like maybe give a sample turn, and it's pretty easy to pick up.
Yeah, because you can almost say it's almost like a video game where you go out and get your quests, and then you gotta collect the things you need to finish that quest, and then drop them off at a certain place to complete it.
Yeah, it's very, you go ABC, or A, B, 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 C. It's not, in some of these big, dense, worker Euro placement games, where there's just 1,000 things going on and everything affects something else. And, you go here, which is this, 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 and this. You need to figure out if you want all those things to actually happen. Mm-hmm. This is just get this, get these, score them. And I think that's really appropriate for the size of the game. I feel like they could have easily scaled this game up into being a full big box size game. But honestly, for how simple it is, I think it works better in a box this size, because the size of the game kind of reflects the density of the game.
So what did you think about the die?
I thought it made a really nice random mechanic where it's not, there's not really like a pass or fail with it. I liked that when you go get the resources, you have to roll a die, and if you succeed with it's like a 5 or a 6, or it can be lower, I think, but if you succeed, you get bonus resources. And I thought that was a cool way to do it, where again, there's not a pass or fail, but there's always that like, oh, I can go here and really, there's a hoping at some point, because you could feel like you failed, because if you really need a red resource and there's no red resources available, but this green resource, if you roll a 5 or a 6, then you can get red resources with it. So you're gonna go for that one and like cross your fingers. So it definitely does give you that feeling of there's some chance, some luck involved, but it's not completely based on that, because there are some resources that you're just guaranteed to get.
Yeah, and that's where extra meeples can actually play a big part. Like every extra meeple that you add to your party when you send them out, that's an extra +1 to your die. So if you're like, I really need to get this perfect roll and get the extra resources, I'm just going to send enough people that no matter what I roll on the die, I'm going to get that perfect.
Yeah, which can be really frustrating when you either you send 4, which I feel like sending 4 when you don't need to, or 3 extras, which is a considerable amount extra.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like 1 shy, and you're like, oh,
if I sent one
more. On the flip side of that, you send 4 extra, and then you get a perfect, you roll a 6, and you're like, I just wasted all of those guys. Which it adds to, I think, kind of the fun aspect of the game, because it is one, because of the simplicity of the game, it's one that I feel like you want to have a little bit more fun with, and it's it's a quick game. If you lose, you can there's time to play it multiple times. It's not your game night based around play this, maybe one filler and go home. You can play this a few times, so it gives you that kind of fun aspect.
The only negative thing about this game, and I guess it comes down to the small size thing, is your resources. As you collect them, they just go up and down on this track. Like you move the little cubes. And lots of games do that, and I can't, knock them for it, I guess. But I don't know, like when you move your resources up, it just doesn't feel like you have them. And if somebody bumps the table or something, like, oh, now my resources are mixed up. I don't know how many I actually had of something.
Yeah, and even just that feeling of, with Payday, if they paid you in $1 bills, you just be like, oh, so much money! And they write you a check, and you're like, okay, cool, take it to the bank, or like a credit card. It doesn't feel like you have a ton. You're like, oh no, my block is all the way here. I think they make up for that a little bit, and just you have all of these meeples.
True.
But I would agree that is a little bit less exciting than it could be, as opposed to having physical resources. So I already kind of talked about my negative with the size being a positive and a negative, where there's some print that's small to read, and honestly all the print on the card could be, I think it could bear to be a little bit bigger, but again, it's the trade for having the small box. Tom's not here right now, but his big negative is the theming, which he just hates anime themed games. And this one, the artwork is anime here.
And it's on some of the cards.
And it really is only on these characters that you can get. There's small anime pictures, and that's it. There's not a lot of anime in the game. But that was a huge thing for him, where he
saw the box and he's like, no.
Yeah, he was like, no, I don't want no anime, which, I mean, that could be a huge plus for you. I know Aaron appreciates the artwork; he likes the chibi anime kind of stuff, and I know there's a lot of people out there who really do appreciate that. So that could be a big negative for you, but I know for him that was his biggest negative in this game.
All in all, Ars Alchimia, great game. I love getting this to the table. Whenever I can sit down and play a worker placement game, this is one that I like to bring out. I always have it in my trunk of my car because it's just so small. It doesn't take.
And honestly, the box is it's a sturdy box. So some game boxes are I don't know if I want to put that in my trunk because if something lands on it. But this one, it's sturdy enough that I'm not as worried about it because it's thick and nice and it stores the game well. I thought it was a really fun game. It's not one that I want to play every night, but I'm definitely happy whenever it gets to the table. I think the gameplay is pretty quick and seamless. There's not a lot of people sitting there thinking what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It moves pretty quick. You have a little bit of decision with how many meeples you want to send. That's pretty much it, though. The strategy is pretty cut and dry, straightforward. I think the colors were really interesting. Normally games, they have red, blue, green, purple, or yellow. The fourth color can vary. Mm-hmm. But they have this weird neon
Lavender.
purple and this orange and like the light
Neonish
blue
green.
and the weird green yellow. Like it makes it different, and I kind of like that. It makes it stick out a little bit.
All right, so if this game sounds cool to you, you should definitely click on the buy link below.
While you're down there, leave us a comment, tell us what you thought, let us know if you have any questions or anything like that.
And don't forget to subscribe so you'll never be bored. All right, so if this tickles your fancy, I want to put that in, but it doesn't work with any games.
No, it doesn't.